All right, this news just breaking moments ago. Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz. The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud. ICE tells Fox News Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible. We are going to have more on this in our next hour.
All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this, and Ilhan Omar just got even more bad news because right now she is panicking after it was just exposed that the owner of the restaurant who held her 2018 victory election is Somali, has been convicted of fraud. And remember, you know, she was talking in front of this restaurant. She was bigging up this restaurant in Minneapolis, and come to find out the owner is now being convicted of fraud. And like I said before, and Ilhan Omar around here acting like she didn't know what was going on, but now we find out that Ilhan Omar's net worth is between 20 and 30 million dollars. This right here is insane. And not only that, Tim Walz is panicking as well because they said that the fraud was around 1 billion, but more stuff has just came out, and they said it could end up going from 1 billion up to $8 billion of fraud. So right now, Ilhan Omar is freaking out because she's already knows she's about to be deported. That's why she's doing damage control right now, running around, talking about, oh, I'm going to live a lot longer than Trump because, you know, I'm half his age, which she's so slow is that it don't matter how old you is, as long as you take care of yourself. No matter what your age is, anything can happen to you at any time. So, like, I don't know what's wrong with her making a statement like that. That's another thing of her wanted something to happen to President Trump by even making a statement. Imagine if President Trump made a statement like that. You will see the headlines on CNN. Oh, Donald Trump wishing death on Ilhan Omar. It'll be everywhere if President Trump says something like that. But let's dive straight into this. We got a good bit to get to today, so please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, shout out all the new supporters and stuff like that. I appreciate all of you, and please let me know down below in the comment section that you did stay to the end of this video because it definitely helps get the video out there, and it helps me get President Trump's message out there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this, y'all, because I mean, this is insane. But before we get into the liar herself, Ilhan Omar, check this out by Eric Daugherty. This is the reason why a lot of these Democrats mad. Say massive news. For the 7th straight month, not a single illegal alien was let into the United States at the U.S.-Mexico border under President Trump. For November, just over 7,000 migrants were apprehended by Border Patrol. I got what I voted for. Think about this. In 7 straight months, not one illegal alien has came across that border. President Trump is not playing around. That's why the Democrats are mad. That's the reason why they are mad. And that's the reason why, you know, Ilhan Omar, they want the Somalis in Minnesota because they want them to continue to vote Democrat every year. That's what they want. President Trump is not having. That's the reason why now, we just found out yesterday, if you haven't checked my video, that now ICE has flooded the streets of Minneapolis, and they already started picking up illegal Somalis and illegal aliens. And that's why Ilhan Omar is freaking out. So it's just so much stuff coming out. And President Trump posted this as well. Eric Daugherty said, holy crap, President Trump is now posting that we only have 2 options. Deport every single third world migrant, illegal alien, and American-hating visa holder. And you can see it right here by President Trump. And then he go on to say, or surrender your nation the way the United Kingdom have and watch your society collapse in the coming years. Wow. So let's dive straight into it. So right here by Eric Daugherty, he said breaking, Ilhan Omar is now panicked after it was exposed the owner of a restaurant who held her 2018 election victory party is a Somali convicted of fraud. Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellis, and the other top officials are also facing massive scrutiny as they knew about the Somali fraud, because I told y'all this yesterday, that over 400 employees came out against Tim Walz. In Minneapolis, over 400 workers said that they told Tim Walz this 3 years ago about the fraud that was going on with the Somalis was stealing from taxpayers in Minnesota, and said that Tim Walz told them to shut up and keep their mouth quiet. So he knew about all of this. So now he's under investigation. So let's check this out.
The whistleblowers that I've spoken to are saying that the governor knew, and the governor and lieutenant governor and even Chris Schmitter, who was his chief of staff, came to them as staff and scolded them for pointing out fraud.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
I want y'all to listen to what this woman just said again. Tim Walz them knew. And like I said, pretty much told them to shut up because Tim Walz was making money off this, and Ilhan Omar got her network up to $20 to $30 million over the past few years. Check this out again. I'll let it play.
The whistleblowers that I've spoken to are saying that the governor knew, and the governor and lieutenant governor and even Chris Schmitter, who was his chief of staff, came to them as staff and scolded them for pointing out fraud.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar told CNN this week she believes the fraud spiraled out of control because COVID programs were rolled out without sufficient guardrails. It's also worth noting the owner of the restaurant where Omar held her 2018 victory party is among those from the Somali community who have been convicted of profiting from the schemes. Harris?
Look, I don't know. I know this would be public, but I don't know how hard they'd make us work as journalists. But I want a FOIA for those 300+ arrests that A.G. Ellison says that he made. I want to know the dates that those arrests, did they coincide with being caught or this coming to light? I want to know who they picked up in the scheme when you just heard a head of small business saying, Kelly Loeffler, there are more people to go out and get. I mean, this is unbelievable. Your last quick word.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting, earlier this week when Governor Walz was asked why is it that he was leaving this up to the feds, why isn't the state doing more? Yeah. He said, we're working with the feds and that we're leading to these federal cases. He didn't answer that question repeatedly, though, of why it is that the state itself hasn't done more to go after these fraud cases.
Because Tim Walz, he knew about it. I told, man, Tim Walz got to go. You got to get rid of Tim Walz out of Minnesota, and you got to get rid of Ilhan Omar. They both is in on the scheme. They already the feds already picked up 77 people. Think about this, y'all. Over 77 people is already arrested now. That was all in. That was inside this little old fraud scheme. And you telling me Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar didn't know about it? They knew about it because that was enriching themselves. The reason why Tim Walz told them, you know, the 400 employees that came out against him and told them to shut up and keep quiet. And now Ilhan Omar is now forced to say something about it, but if it never came out, she wouldn't have said anything. She went over to CNN, but of course now she's trying to blame it on COVID and all type of stuff. Like it just freaking insane. So here it go right here by Libs of TikTok. Here's Ilhan Omar in front of this restaurant right here. Here's Ilhan Omar promoting the Safari restaurant in Minneapolis for feeding kids. It said right here, the owner who donated to her campaign was convicted in the Feeding Our Future $250 million fraud scheme. They stole hundreds of millions of dollars from hungry children. And check this out right here. Here go the Safari thing right here, and you're going to see Ilhan Omar.
horta aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta Safari aan soo gaarnay sida dadka badan ay u og yihiin ciyaalkeena yaryar ilaa iyo number la eg 20 milyan oo ciyaal iskooley ah waxay cuntadooda ka helaan iskoolka kaliyo marka waxaan fursad u helnay in aan sharci soo gudbino oo la dhahayo Meals Act oo u fududeynayo in waqtigaanay pandemic aan ku jirno oo dhalinyarada iskoolka aynan joogin oo guryahooda ay joogaan aynan gaajoonin oo familkoodi wili ay fursad u helaan in cunto ay helaan oo meelo qaarkood laga qaybinayo ay cuntada ka soo qaadan karaan marka aadaan ugu mahadcelinaya.
Look at her. I'm so very thankful for Safaris. Yeah, she's so very thankful that they put off a $250 million scheme and stole hundreds of millions of dollars from hungry children. But now she acting like she don't know about this. This is insane.
Safari in ay tahay meelaha city oo diyaarinayo cunto maalin kasto dhalinyarada ciyaalkii iyo familkoodina ku taakulaynayo cuntadaasaytii maalintii keliyo safaari waxay ay cunto siisaa 2,300 oo ciyaal ah iyo familkooda taas waa mid muhiim ah sida aad u ogtihiin dhalinyaro badan gaajo ku nool wadankaanayti ama familkooda fursad u helin in quraac qada iyo casho ay siiso marka in qadadaasaytii ay meel ka helaan aaday u muhiimsan tahay bishaan ramadaanka oo familiyaalkeena badan iyagoo aan shaqo haysanin iyagoo aan taakulayn kaleeta helaynin in aynan ka walwalin ciyaalkooda yaryar sidii ay qado ku siin lahaayeen waa muhiim marka waxaan u mahad celinayaa safaariyo kaleeta iyo dadka badan oo maalin ilaahay keeno fursad u qaatay in ay u volunteer gareeyaan oo ay taakuleeyaan familiyaalka.
All this was a scheme, a fraud scheme. So she did this video, but knowing the entire time it was all a lie. They were just putting on for the camera and stealing money from Minnesota taxpayers. That was all set up and all a lie. And she's in on it. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, man. So all that y'all just watched was nothing but a whole lie. So this is the same thing about it. The owner was just convicted of fraud. And Ilhan Omar was right here promoting and saying, yeah, we doing this, we doing that. But the video was an entire fraud just to steal money. And that's the reason why Ilhan Omar is panicking right now. Say new reports claim Ilhan Omar had ties to people who personally profited from the fraud linked to Somalia in her district. Ilhan Omar frequently a restaurant where the owner is in jail for falsely submitting he served 18,000 meals a day. I would love to ask somebody this. Who in the world can serve 18,000 meals a day? 18,000? Oh my God, 18,000. You got to be kidding me. Ilhan Omar net worth has skyrocketed in the last few years. I'm calling on Scott Bessent to audit her bank accounts and bring her to justice. Oh my God, let's check this out.
And new reports claiming Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has deep ties to people who personally profited from the alleged fraud. That list includes one of her former campaign officials and a co-owner of the restaurant where Omar held her 2018 congressional victory party. It is important to note the Congresswoman has not been directly linked to the fraud herself. Joining us now is the Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives, Lisa DeMuth, who joins me now. And Lisa, thank you so much for doing just that. $1 billion in taxpayer dollars essentially lit on fire. What is your reaction to this staggering fraud scandal that has rocked your state?
For the last 7 years, we have looked at fraud that has exploded under Governor Tim Walz in autism services, feeding our future. The food scandal during the COVID time is the largest COVID food scandal, taxpayer money waste in the nation. And we've been sounding the alarm over the years. We're finally getting that national attention that we need so much here in our state to have full investigations. But you're right. It's over $1 billion in taxpayer dollars that have gone out to fraud instead of going to the people that needed those services the most.
Tim Walz is up for re-election. What are people, what are residents in Minnesota saying about this?
Tim Walz is up for his third election here in the state of Minnesota. People were surprised when he was re-elected for a second time. But when he was on the national stage just a year ago, it really let the nation know truly who Tim Walz is. Yep. Definitely let Minnesotans know.
Think about it, that man was lying about his military background and all type of stuff. Stolen valor, Tim Walz. Even people came out against him who was, with him, said that he was lying. So Tim Walz is doing this. He know all about this fraud, but he only doing it so he can keep getting reelected. Because he know as long as, and that's why they want all the Somalis there and stuff like that, because Tim Walz want to be able to keep getting reelected because he know if he continue this fraud and Somalis keep getting keep stealing all this money from taxpayers, they going to keep reelecting Tim Walz. That's what this right here is all about, because he want to stay in power. He want to stay the governor. And not only that, even a mayor then got exposed. We'll get to him in just a second.
His favorability is underwater right now. It's less than 50%, and it's mostly because he has not handled fraud, and he's increased our taxes and fees and spent through a record surplus.
You say that $1 billion could just be the tip of the iceberg. That's a pretty big iceberg. What do you mean by that?
Yes, and that is what we've heard from the acting U.S. attorney in the case, specifically looking at some of these things. That was said by acting attorney, U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson. He said this could be just the tip of the iceberg. It could push north almost to $2 billion. Again, these are taxpayer dollars that have been stolen by fraudsters here in the state of Minnesota.
Wow. And like I said, you see everybody talking about it, even by Paul. Representative Ilhan Omar speaks in Somali as she promotes the fraudulent safari restaurant while it ran the Feeding Our Future scam in 2020. The owner stole $16 million plus in taxpayer funds and donated to her campaign legally investigate Ilhan and make her testify. She definitely need to, because think about it. This owner stole $16 million. Ilhan Omar helped her steal that. That's why Ilhan Omar, her net worth is between 20 and 30 million, because she was in on this scheme to enrich herself because, for her people. She done said this. So, stealing $16 million. Now, her scams, Ilhan Omar scams, done just blowed up in her face now. She wasn't ready for this. So let's move it on over to this for a second, because even the mayor in Minneapolis is a piece of crap. Because this is the same mayor, and plus the police chief was pretty much telling the Somalis and illegal aliens that, if ICE arrests you, make sure you call us and tell us that they kidnapping y'all. So you even got this mayor and the police chief in Minneapolis taking up for the Somalis, not just the illegal Somalis and illegal aliens. So he don't even want Tom Homan to do his job. Tom Homan already called him out. I made a video about that yesterday. Make sure y'all watch my video from yesterday where I broke all of that down and showed y'all what Tom Homan said after the police chief in Minneapolis was pretty much, telling Somalis to call the police if ICE picked them up. But look at this. Look how this liar is. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, looks like he's about to throw up after trying a popular Somali dish called ambulo. So you can see his face right here that he really don't like it, but he's trying to stick it to President Trump as if, Somali, they food good. Like I said, I don't know. I never ate it before, so I don't know. If you in the comment section, you done ate like a Somali dish, let me know. How was it? I don't know, so I can't speak on it. But you can just see that he really don't like it. He looked like he's about to throw up. Let's check it out.
Jacob Frey or Unaya. Jacob, hey?
Try it. Can I try it?
Yes, try it. Mix it. It's delicious. What is that? This is ambulo.
Ambulo.
What do you say? Ambulo.
Look.
Mayorka Minneapolis waxa uu caaw ku casheynayaa ambulo waa culture-ka reer koonfur galbeed. Waa kana.
So you can see he faking, trying to fake like he really like it when he really don't. Because you can see right here, they breaking the Democrat mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is being brutally mocked for pretending to enjoy a Somali meal to stick it to Donald Trump. Really, bro? He can move to Somalia if he loves them so much. Get them all out. Look at him. Just fake. Acting like he really like it when he really don't. Look at him. Look like he about to throw up. And like I said before, I don't know how it tastes because I never ate a Somali dish a day in my life. So like I said, I can't really speak on it like as far as like how it tastes and stuff like that. I don't know. So let's get right here, because I showed y'all a video yesterday of Tim Walz pretty much crying, talking about, ever since Donald Trump called him a retard, that people been driving by his house calling him a retard, and now his life is in danger. But yet there was the same man who was just wishing death on President Trump 2 months ago. I showed y'all that video of what he said. All the crap, this the same man that didn't call Donald Trump a fascist, a Nazi, Hitler. He didn't call President Trump all of these names, putting President Trump's life in danger, which this man almost lost his life twice. because of the rhetoric that come out the Democrats' mouth. So Donald Trump called him a retard. Now he want to act like his life is in danger because Donald Trump called him a retard. Look, check this out right here.
The president calling our neighbors garbage. Are you okay with him referring to Minnesota as a hellhole, unfactually untrue? This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful.
Okay, now I've been, I haven't seen any Democrats that say that y'all are shameful for calling this man Hitler. Why you haven't said anything about that? When Jasmine Crockett get on TV every day and refer to Donald Trump as Hitler, where is Tim Walz saying, Jasmine Crockett, won't you stop saying that? That man, I understand we don't like him, but don't say that. Where do you be at when Jasmine Crockett, she get on TV every day? Matter of fact, she just got on TV, 3 days ago, over on CNN, and called this man Hitler again. She do it every day. Every chance she gets, she call him that. And where is Tim Walz saying, Jasmine Crockett, shut up and stop calling that man that? Where's you, Tim Walz? So the man called you a retard, and you want a Republican to speak out and say Donald Trump is wrong for calling you a retard. When y'all sit on TV every day and attack this man, call him all type of names. Like this is crazy. Now he want to play victim.
Our word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see.
You know what is shameful, Tim Walz? Shameful is that you knew about fraud in Minnesota and let the Somalis steal all that money from Minnesota taxpayers. That's what's shameful. Not shameful because the man called you a retard. Like, come on.
An elected official, a Republican elected official, say you're right. That's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So,
oh my God, this man said turn to violence when all the violence is coming from the left, not the right. I told you, these people are just freaking hypocrites. Now I want to show y'all this because this right here was funny. I think somebody made this AI video of how Tim Walz is crying about, Donald Trump calling him a retard and stuff like that. So somebody made this little AI video. Like, I want y'all to see this because this right here is insane. Hold on, let me play it.
A big fat retard. Go home. Leave me alone. I'm not retard. Wake up, retard, 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 retard. Wake up, retard, 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 retard. Retard!
That right there was it. I had to show y'all that. But we got more to get to. So by Eric Daughter right here, he said, just then the Somali fraud scandal is blowing up in Tim Walz's Minnesota. They did not even bat an eye at the fact the state's disability services suspiciously skyrocketed for Somalis.
Pausing the issuing of new licenses for disability service providers over concerns of fraud after an explosion in the number of applications for new licenses over the past 5 years, going up 283%, while the number of people needing those services only increased by 25%. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch, but he says they have investigated every claim of fraud that's come in.
That's a lie.
Something whistleblowers dispute, and says the state is taking the steps it needs to keep it from happening again.
That's a lie.
We've acknowledged that this is serious, needs to stop. It is stopping. People are continuing to go to prison. I think the good news for Minnesotans to know when that 90-day pause is over and the third-party audits are done, we will have a better picture than we've ever had, which I think is really good.
This guy's a complete liar, bro. Think about it. How can you listen to him? Well, this man lied about his military background. This man, like stolen valor. Lied about going overseas with the Tiananmen Square. Like, he just lied about everything. This man couldn't even load a shotgun. I mean, how can you believe a person, especially when you lying about your military background? Like, you lying about that? And you expect us to listen to you after you told 400 employees to shut up and keep quiet because you knew about the fraud scheme, and you only talking about it now because it didn't hit the news. Because if it never came out, it'll be still going on right now. So you just can't listen to this guy. He's a liar.
It's true. A Somali fraud ring in Minnesota stole over $1 billion from Medicaid. How did this happen? Well, Medicaid programs are run by the states, which in Minnesota means the Tim Walz administration. Governor Walz and the state's other Democrats rely on Somali votes to get elected, so they decided to look the other way because they were afraid of, quote-unquote, political backlash. Don't take my word for it. That's what a Somali-American fraud investigator told the New York Times. When these scammers realized that nobody was guarding the cash register, they went gangbusters. One program designed to provide housing stabilization assistance to patients ballooned to $104 million, when 4 years ago it was projected to cost only $2.6 million. Some of these taxpayer funds may have even ended up in the hands of a Somalian terrorist group. Scary stuff. When CMS became aware of the housing program situation, Minnesota insisted it could clean up its own mess. A few months ago, it admitted it could not. So we stepped in to shut down the fraud-infested housing initiative. Today, we're taking action on more than a dozen other programs, which I've outlined in the post below. Our message to Walz is clear. Either fix this in 60 days or start looking under your couch for spare change, because we are done footing the bill for your incompetence. This administration will never stop fighting to protect the vulnerable Americans who rely on these programs and the taxpayers who fund them. We're going to crush waste, fraud, and abuse.
Then they say, holy crap, it was just revealed that the Somali Minnesotan fraud might end up toward $8 billion. Not just $1 billion. Governor Tim Walz, what have you done? Several whistleblowers say they believe the total fraud can total up to more than $8 billion.
Fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud.
Wow.
Just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion. Governor Tim Walz, who is up for re-election, is under fire for all of this happening under his watch. But he says they have paused these programs. They've brought in outside auditors to get an idea of how far-reaching this fraud was. They're taking steps to keep it from happening again. And he's defending his management of the state while also taking shots at Republicans and the president.
And in spite of the headwinds we're up against, Minnesota ranks economically, economic growth, happiness, number of people insured, education levels, near the very top. So I'll tell you what, I have no interest in having this state look like Oklahoma or Mississippi. And if folks are going to commit crimes here, thinking because our generous spirit and our programs that we have is going to give them some kind of cover, they are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, Minnesota is also now home to the single largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country. And Republicans argue that Walz and other Democrats opened the door to this.
They did. They definitely opened the door to this. It's just absolutely freaking insane, man. Now, they say, wow, this U.S.-Afghanistan veteran is going viral as Americans are increasingly fed up with Somalis and Muslims taking over the country.
I just got done listening to Ilhan Omar talk about how horrible and terrible and dirty and everything else that this country is. Denigrating this country, denigrating half of the people in it. This country has been very kind, benevolent, and gracious to her and countless others. We gave her asylum. We gave her a place to live. We gave her an education. We gave her a pathway to become a sitting United States congressman. But to me, it goes deeper than that. See, I'm an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran. I was 22 years old when those planes flew into those buildings, and me and thousands of other young men across this country answered the call to go over there and combat this evil that was on our shores, that had finally hit us. And what we were told over and over again is that we go over there and we fight them over there, we will not have to fight them here. And now here we are. We're retired. We're out. We're ready to start pursuing a life of our own. And what does this country do to that enemy that we went over there and we fought to keep over there because that's what we were told? We kissed our families goodbye. I watched my wife cry while I got on that bus to go to the airport or go to the airfield. I watched my son cry because he didn't know if or when he was going to see me again. And then I come home. I've been retired for 8 years. And I come home, and what are we seeing? We're seeing entire communities being taken over by the very people that we fought to keep off of our shores. Dearborn Mission is completely freaking taken over. Now we have mosques in Minnesota, Texas, Missouri, all over the country, promoting Sharia law. Do we really have to tell people that Sharia law is incompatible with the United States Constitution? We were told that if we fought them over there, we would not have to fight them here. But what do we have? What did you do? You elected it mayor of New York. You gave it Senate seats in Minnesota. Now I want you to turn around. I want you to find an Iraq and Afghanistan veteran somewhere around you, and I want you to look them in the eye and tell them why they should not feel betrayed. Do it. I dare you.
Wow. Salute to this to the U.S. Afghanistan veteran, man. Cause like I said, that video definitely went viral, and he was just fed up with Somalis and Muslims and stuff like that. But like I said, it just got to the point where it's getting out of hand. Now the last clip I'd like to show y'all, this right here. It said by Adogg, it said infuriating. Somali main state representative Adogg announces her #1 goal in office is to surge taxpayer money from America to Somalia. Hopefully we will be able to help our former country, Somalia, ban them from holding office. And this is what she said. Hopefully we will be able to help our former country, Somalia. So they've been stealing money from taxpayers and sending it to Somalia. And Ilhan Omar is in on this scheme. Tim Walz is in on this scheme. And they've been doing it for the last 3 years and just not getting caught. And we just found out that the restaurant owner that Ilhan Omar was claiming that she was at and helping and supporting stole over $16 million.
Policies, how can the politics in Somalia can be, resonate what we have here in the United States, the democracy that we have. How can you help us, be a better country and build back what we used to have back in long time ago? So hopefully, we will be able to help our country, our former country, Somalia, policies.
Wow. So y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think about this. Like I said, thank you all for watching. I will keep y'all up to date as more information comes out. And like y'all can see, Ilhan Omar's scams is just blowing up in her face. It's not looking good. And like I said, thank you all for watching. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.